pleasant Tuesday morning to you. Welcome once again to Untengle on the Bridge 99 FM. A very special morning to you, Richie B, and the Up and Go crew. Have yourselves a wonderful day, and a very special morning to all of us gathered on the Bridge 99 FM to Untengle. Thanks for joining us. A very special morning also to Team Untengle as we untangle till 1 in the afternoon. So we have LaFane, and she is online. Good morning again, LaFane.
Morning, Mama. It's good to see you, albeit virtually.
Good to see you also. And virtually is good, because,
Yes.
at least we can see each other.
That's
don't
right.
we?
Thank God for technology.
Thank God for technology. All right. So before we start our discussion, probably you want to lead off by telling us what the story is about, and then we can start our discussion.
Sure, certainly. So, on in November, I think it was the 15th, Balenciaga, the fashion brand, it dropped its holiday ad campaign featuring children holding teddy bears in what appears to be bondage harnesses and costumes. Now, the BDSM accessories were also on the runway at Balenciaga's show at Paris Fashion Week. Now, the backlash was swift, with the hashtag Cancel Balenciaga trending across Twitter and TikTok, and many accusing the brand and its creative director Demna of condoning pedophilia and child exploitation. So that's the background to the story. And we have a video that we can play right now so that persons can get a little bit more context about what we're going to be talking about.
Okay.
Bringing even more attention to both campaigns.
Okay, so basically that's it.
Right.
All right. So, it is coming out. I guess it has come out even more in a more brazen way here now, because people like or groups like this now feel that children have no protection because virtual child pornography has been removed from the Child Pornography Act. So I guess all of this brazenness now is because of that, or a result of that. So let's talk about the act, and let's talk about let's talk about how it has been removed and why it has been removed and the implications of that.
Right. So I want to start first by saying how far is too far, because Balenciaga is known for its controversial ads or campaigns. So that's number one. So how far is too far? Where do we draw the line to say, okay, maybe this is pushing the envelope a little too much? And is it that we're objectifying children because they cannot say for themselves? Yes, they can, but the parent has to give consent to say, yes, you can be involved in this or you can't be involved in that. So where do we draw the line to say, okay, our children need to be protected, or is it fair game because freedom of expression, it's just art, So, because some people argue it like that, and the fashion house has since issued an apology saying that, they'll not allow this to happen again. But then the question is, why did it happen in the first place? Is it that you were testing the boundaries?
That's exactly what was happening, because you notice that they didn't apologize right away.
Exactly. It was when the backlash.
It was, you said it, LaFane. Oftentimes, that's exactly what they're doing. They're testing the waters. And if they can come out with something like that and get no backlash, then that's a green light.
Fine.
Yes. And, you ask, where do we draw the line? People like that are not going to draw the line.
That's it.
We have to draw the line.
That's it. And even the photographer himself, he came out and he was basically dissociating himself from, the whole conceptualization of the shoot or the campaign, because he was saying, oh, I was just contracted to take the pictures. But morally, if I'm contracted to do something and I realize that, this is something that I don't agree with, then I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it and then collect the money, and then when everybody start, come out and say, why were you a part of this to begin with, then you're going to say, I'm disassociating myself from it.
But the photographer also has experience in taking children's
right.
pictures. And I suppose this is why he was used.
Right.
But like yourself, Lafayne, I don't buy into what he's saying, that, oh, he's just a poor innocent photographer.
Right.
Because, it just don't ring true.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. And then another thing that came out of it, because Kim Kardashian is very popular icon in Hollywood. She is a brand ambassador for Balenciaga, and persons were calling her out saying, are you going to now cut ties with the brand? And because you're a mother, so how does that look for you? Not cutting ties with the brand, it doesn't give a good picture to people. So a lot of persons were calling her out and saying, why isn't she saying anything? Why isn't she cutting ties with the brand? So that happened as well.
But, there are a lot of issues that coming out of this. But let us look at Kim Kardashian and the influence that she has now on young people.
Definitely.
And celebrities like her, they know the influence they have.
Of
Because
course.
if it was another topic, let us say even George Floyd.
Exactly.
Incidents like those, Black Lives Matter, they see how much influence when they come out against something, how much influence it has.
Exactly.
So we were kind of looking forward to, well, not to we.
People.
There you go. People were kind of looking forward to her coming out, more strongly. But let us talk about Kim Kardashian. She says, as a mother of 4, I have been shaken by the disturbing images. The safety of children must be held with the highest regard, and any attempts to normalize child abuse of any kind should have no place in our society, period. And fine, but then she goes on, because the money I run out.
That's
So
right.
she goes on. I'm just hoping that for those people, the naysayers, because sometimes you say things and you observe people's characters
Right.
and their associations, and when it is with people like these, it's very hard to believe.
It is.
But I'm just hoping. Anyway, she goes on now to say, I appreciate Balenciaga's removal of the campaigns and apology. In other words, she just nullify everything what she did just said before.
Right. Exactly. And she went on to say her team is reevaluating her association with the brand. So she's not saying I'm cutting ties, blunt, point blank, period. She's just saying we're reevaluating. So basically, one podcaster was saying she's just waiting until the noise dies down.
Exactly.
The 9-day wonder wear off. The
Exactly.
cancel culture people quiet down, and then and it's sad that that's the kind of world that we live in, where these things happen, but is there real lasting change that takes place after we create the noise and we call people out and we say, why is this done? It just is swept under the rug, and then something else comes and distracts us from this that has taken place.
And the reality to Lafayne is that they will create that something
Exactly.
to distract us
Exactly.
from what has taken place. But at some point we're going to have to take responsibility,
Yes.
because we are the ones sweeping it under the rug, and we're not held at knife point. We are just comfortable in the nonsense.
Definitely.
And that is what they know. And just like the podcaster says, she's not evaluating nothing.
Those are just words. That's why I have PR people
Exactly.
to do things like this for you.
Exactly.
And it's sad. It's sad. I feel for the children as well, because in their innocence, they may not really understand what is taking place. But maybe later on in life, who knows what else, would have happened or taken place on set, or, they may be asked to do other things that they may not understand. And then it leaves that trauma and that trail of hurt and pain. And I need to figure out why this has happened to me.
Right. Because, one of the dangers about advertisements like these is that it normalizes abuse.
Exactly.
And children growing up seeing pictures like these may not be aware of the fact that they're being abused. Can you believe that?
Exactly.
Lafayne, let us look at the picture. Let us untangle the picture. Please untangle. Put up the picture again for me and make we look on that picture then. In the meantime, let's talk about
Yes. So there's one. Well, I don't know if they're both girls or boys because both male and female grow their hair. So
it. Right.
they're in the Balenciaga children's wear. So that's what they said the ad is about. The children's outfit, their new children's line. So one is holding a purple teddy bear in the bondage wear, and the other one is holding a white teddy bear in bondage wear. But it's funny because I was showing one of the engineers in studio, and he was saying, so who determines that it is bondage wear? But if
Well, the BDSM
exactly
determines that.
exactly
Because that was a sign on one of the rag dolls, one of
Right.
the stuffed toys.
he's
That-
asking what is BDSM,
Yeah, tell them what it is. I shudder to think.
it refers to a range of sexual preferences that generally relate to enjoyment of physical control, psychological control, or inducing pain. So based on my research, let me just put that disclaimer out there. And what I've seen is that persons usually dress in this kind of attire that the teddy bears have on, whether they are the ones inflicting the pain on the other person or vice versa. So they usually dress in a lot of leather colors and sort of thing that you see the teddy bears have on.
There's such a thing as subliminal messages.
Exactly.
And this one, I'm not even sure if it falls in the category of
No,
subliminal.
not at all.
This one, blatant.
Very, very. And that's
And-
what people are saying.
Yes.
That's what people are saying, that, children should not, they are not sexual objects, because a lot of persons were defacing Balenciaga outlets in the United States, and they were saying cancel Balenciaga because children are not sexual objects.
Absolutely.
They shouldn't be involved in, even when you look on their faces, the poor children kind of look clueless as to what is going on and why they're doing this. So it's like they're just being used as tools then.
But if adults sometimes are used as tools.
Exactly.
And not even aware of it because of how insidious it can be.
Exactly.
Can you imagine a child?
Exactly.
But as you said, you spoke about the faces. In order to catch a child with an expression like that, even if you go to the movies, in order to get a child to cry in a show, in a movie, you have to traumatize the child first,
Right. Sadly.
So, so
Sadly.
to get these two, it says they were girls, but to get these two children, whatever gender they are, to have faces like that and look like that, that's not excellent acting. That's
No.
trauma.
Exactly. They must have told them to do something to have that appearance.
Exactly. And the dolls, if we take a closer look, the dolls have their eyes scratched out.
Yes.
I mean, there was always Chucky.
Listen, I don't know why when I was younger I watched that, but to this day I'm still
traumatized.
traumatized. I don't watch horror movies, anything like that. Nope. Yeah.
Well,
Stay away.
Yeah. So they introduced us to it with Chucky because Chucky was quite frightening. It still is.
Still is.
Right. But the dolls, as we said before, them have the BDSM side. And, even adults, I would for adults, because me did have to go look it up too. Me did have an idea, but me still have to look it up.
Right.
So even adults not quite sure what that is, and you're going to put that on a picnic tie.
Exactly. Like, why was it even necessary to begin with? Why couldn't you just have the children, in the attire, posing or doing something, different? But that really pushed the envelope. So
Because why them couldn't just do it? Because them free now, one. And them selling pedophilia.
yes,
Straight up.
yes.
Them
yes.
selling child pornography.
That's it.
And probably more laws are going to come off the books, because it is a society of very well noted and unfortunately sometimes highly respected, and certainly billionaires
Exactly.
are part of this pedophilia ring, and that's why it is so difficult to stop.
Exactly. But Mama, we have to take a break and
Okay.
then we come back and finish up.
All right. Okay, thank you very much for joining us on Untengle. And we are right inside a new feature on Untengle. And we're calling this one Untengle the Trending. All right, so Untengle producer LaFane Wigan and myself, we're going to tackle this one, the Untengle the Trending.
Yes.
And the trending one right now is the topic of the Balenciaga luxury fashion house coming under fire after showing two young girls holding stuffed animals. But it's so much more than just holding stuffed animals.
Right.
And one of the things that we need to start to do more of is to be critical thinkers.
Yes.
Most of us are not critical thinkers.
That's it. Because when we just see something and that's it on the surface, we don't go beyond and say, what else is there? What more is being communicated that's not being displayed on the surface, you know? So, as you rightly said, we need to be critical thinkers and we need to be gatekeepers. We shouldn't just accept what is presented to us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. One of the things that I'm sure that you're going to be following up is whether there is going to be a public outcry, not from the people who are talking against it, no, but from the celebrities.
Right, yes. A lot of persons were listening out for that as well because, as we mentioned earlier, if it was an issue with racism or something else, a lot of people would have been vocal about it, but no. And it begs the question when it comes on to women and children. Wow. I don't want to be controversial, but...
No, but go right ahead.
Usually it's the children and the women who are objectified, and then it's as if it's swept under the rug, like, oh yes, this is so, but then what? The victims are not treated with that sort of, I don't even know the word, but it's as if it's not that important or a greater issue. We don't see that the public outcry and all these protests and all of that taking place about issues like these.
Right. You know something though, LaFane, I personally think it's intentional, and I don't think it's because we are considered to be the weaker sex. In fact, I think the opposite is true.
Right.
I think it's an intentional attack on women particularly, and children because of their vulnerability.
Right. That's
but women have proven by even Me Too movements how powerful we are. And I don't think that is coming over too well with some Marcus still. Investigations or research into this shows that a woman is behind it.
Right. Oh boy. That's another a whole other Pandora box.
You know, but I think we as women need to realize that it is because of our strength why we're targeted.
That's true.
And we need to see that.
That's true. And another thing too that I thought about when I saw this is, how far will we go for money? You know, what would we do if the price is right? If we really think about it, because I mean, the photographer, he had this whole project where he was taking pictures of children with toys around the world. So that's how he was even contracted to do this campaign.
Right.
But then when the backlash, you know, when everybody was crying out about the images, then you were distancing yourself from it, saying you were just contracted to take the pictures, but you already got paid and everything was wrapped up. So how far will we go just for money?
Excellent question.
Yeah.
Excellent question, because LaFane, I think that is at the center of it all.
Yes.
Because these people are very well connected.
Yes.
Some of them millionaires, billionaires, some of them members of royal families, some of them very wealthy celebrities. And it tells me that money is at the center of most of it.
Yes. Yes.
Because of the kind of people that are being attracted, and it also opens up a can of
It does.
worms.
It does.
Because we're talking about children who have been stolen, trafficked perhaps, more than abused.
Exactly.
I mean, if you even look at some of the pictures associated with people like those, whoever those are,
Right.
a lot of even the picture that we're talking about here, the children look traumatized.
They do.
So it is obvious that the ring also encompasses child trafficking, human
All of that,
trafficking,
all of that.
pedophilia, and obviously there are a set of people who nothing for do more than for take set on people
Exactly,
picnic.
exactly. And I don't get it, and I don't want to get it. There are some things that I always say I don't understand, but me not think me want understand.
You know
Because
what? You know one of those things, the part that the parents play.
that and when I saw it too, I'm like, what could someone say to me for me to allow my child to be involved in certain things? But then it comes back down to the money.
Exactly. You said it.
How much
said
are you
it.
offering me for this?
Exactly. You said it. And a lot of the people who are part of all of this, they have sold out decades ago.
That's it.
So them don't really see nothing wrong with you or sell out today.
No, nope. They're like, everybody has a price in their mind. That's what they think.
Exactly. I think you have touched on the pulse of it, Lafayette. It is all about a set of people who believe that money is God.
Yep.
And they will sell them, well, if they might sell for themselves.
They have no issues
Yeah, with selling
somebody
anybody
else. So.
But it's interesting, and as I said before, I know that you're going to be watching the response from some of the celebrities who are still standing behind the brand and pretending as if they're not.
Right.
So we're going to see how long they're going to do it and how much we are going to talk out that they just
Exactly.
it deafens them.
Right. Don't allow it to be another 9-day wonder.
Anyway, this was a wonderful conversation.
It was.
So Laverne and I, we're going to be untangling the trending, and there are going to be times like these when we just totally agree.
That's true. And other times we disagree.
Exactly. I'm sure there are going to be, but one good thing is that, I know Lafayette, we're going to be doing it with a lot of respect.
Yes,
If we
definitely.
do disagree.
Definitely.
It's something that I invite others to make a comment on, their own comments, and whatever it is that we're untangling, you please join in, and we're really anxious to hear your thoughts on the subjects that we have touched. Thanks again, Lafayette.
You're welcome, Mama.
All right, my love. First of all, we want to say good afternoon to you, Koptiq Sun. Not hearing.
Much love and respect.
Okay, yes.
Much love.
I'm hearing you now. Yes. Yes.
Give thanks. Give thanks.
Yes. All right. And welcome to the Bridge 99 FM. It's a pleasure to have you on the bridge.
Thanks, Mama. Much respect.
Oh, usually we start from the beginning and we don't really find a better way yet to start, but from the beginning. So make we start this. So. And growing up as a child, because you are actually the child of a musician. Tell us who that is and how was it for you growing up as the child of such a popular person?
Bertram Ranchi McLean, world-renowned bassist and lead guitarist, fame of Skin, Flesh and Bone. As you know, it was Ranchi and Sly before it was actually Sly and Robbie. A lot of people don't know that. So the original Taxi thing was really Ranchi and Sly from the beginners, So yeah, playing a lot of hits, Jamaican hit bass lines and guitars as well. I actually didn't grow up with my dad because, as a musician, Daddy was out there all the time.
Yes.
And, he and my mom, they weren't actually together. So unfortunate, but at the same time, we just give thanks to the Most High for being here. That's the most important thing.
Right.
So I didn't get a royal life then, musical life. It's just I and I now come seek the music. Love it. I have to tell you so weird, Elise, funny enough, before I even knew some of the things that my dad did, as a youth, I used to put the radio at my ears at night time. I used to steal out the radio and put on my pillow. And the bass is my favorite instrument. And some of the bass lines that I used to pick out as a youth, me grew up to find out some old man play them like Koptiq, Ballistic Affair, Death in the Arena, MPLA, all of these bass lines, I was so enthused. And, believe me, it was such a spiritual connection through the music that, and I didn't know that, but, such is life.
Nice. I'm listening to you and I'm thinking to myself, and I have been thinking to myself that there are some musicians in the fraternity that we just need to bring out some more. And it's not because they're not out there, but sometimes it's just that it's just their turn now. And you are one, because there is so much history in front of you and behind you that that we really need to talk about. So you grew up basically with your mom, but you're telling us that you could feel your dad musically, although he wasn't there in physically with you.
Sila.
Right. All right. Let us talk about that experience and how you came into your own, and even how you met your dad, how you met him, meaning musically.
Well, I met dad at the age of 13, 14, big boy, big enough boy. And, at that time I was already musically exposed because I was already in a band with Travis, which is Red Rat, and his brother Troy, Richard Brownie, the twins, Robert and Richard Brownie. And the name of the crew was Positive Crew. I was the lead singer for that band from the age of about 12 years old. So, at 13, I met David Madden from Bob Marley and the Wailers and Scatterlights, Bob Marley. David Madden is also a member of Zappo. So when I met him, he was really blown away with my vocal, and he was saying, I need to take it to the studio. So my first release was at age 14 with David Madden. Yes, at age 14 with David Madden.
So
and from that time, he was
Hold on a bit, Koptiq. Hold on a little bit. Don't just gloss over that, because the average 14-year-old you just licked them a while ago and was like, boy, I wish I didn't mean that. I mean, take us through that. How you came to be in studio at age 14, and what were the influences that you were around that brought you there?
I was around many influences. As a past student of Meadowbrook High School, I was surrounded with music. As I said, with Robert and Richard Brownie, the Brownie family in general. I was around them. And as you know, Troy's father, he was a writer for Cynthia Slush. So I was around just musicians in general growing up, even though I wasn't with my dad in actuality, but I was around people that knew him very well.
Okay.
So that in itself was a groomer for me with music.
Right.
Along with that, during the days of fete, Meadowbrook had fetes, a lot of fetes. We had the best fete in high school history, everybody can tell you. So there were people like Wayne Wonder, Ghost and Culture. And, what was funny, when they were up there performing, my school name at the time was Bonner. They used to call me Bonner. And everybody was saying, call Bonner up on the stage, put up Bonner up on the stage, So Wayne Wonder had to call me up, and Ghost, every fete they had to call me up on the stage. And I used to perform on the stage. And believe me, it wasn't a normal thing, because I was actually singing some of their songs while they were there and done in the place.
Oh my!
It was a good experience,
Yes. All right. So all right. I don't want to go off track, but you were talking about now how you met your dad.
Well, I was a bit confused as a youth. I'm not blaming my mom, because sometimes moms know best and they're trying to hold a situation until maybe the time is right to say, let me do this or let me do that. So, I started asking questions, and she says, you know what? It is time. It is time. So that was when she actually made the introduction to my dad and I, and it was a bit uncomfortable knowing that I didn't grow with him. I grew with another man, which I still classify as my dad. Yeah, Mr. Barry Forrest, them call him, Leaford Forrest. I love him dearly. I see him as my dad, even though Ranchi is my father. But this man is my daddy. This man take care of me. So it was uncomfortable meeting Ranchi, but comfortable musically because we
Yes.
shared music.
I love that. Very well said. All right, so let's talk about now the Zappo experience now.
The Zappo experience from I met David Man, he was like, I'm going to groom, because I wanted to become the lead singer of this group, And I was like, really? And, I was just kind of blowing it off and so forth. So it is so weird now that after years of knowing the whole connection that I was working with Bonnie Whaler, and as you know, Dwight Pinkney works with Bonnie Whaler. So they were putting the group back together, and he called me one day and said to me, what do you think about being the lead singer of the group now? And I said, what? This is like a dream, because this has been from a youth stage that we've been talking about this. So for this to actually be a reality, of course, I'm ready. And that is how, I actually, 2015, 16 it was that we did the album, Zappo again.
And how long were you with Zappo?
Actually, I'm still the lead singer. It's just that they're not as active because, all the members are actually working with other superstars. Israel Vibration and Glenn is working with the Whalers and so forth. So they haven't actually had the time to do any physical work as Zappo, but I'm still a current lead singer for Zappo, along with myself being Koptiq Sun.
Let us talk about that, because I know that you are always on the road with other musicians, and you just said a while ago that sometimes you just don't have the time to sort out Koptiq Sun.
Right.
We're going to ask you how that go, and we're going to ask you that in a few. But for those listening and hearing us talk to Koptiq Sun and not realizing that it's the same Jeffree Star, we just want to make that connection immediately. Because people might be looking at him and saying, oh, me know the bridge in the face, but a Jeffree Star, me know him as. So you're right, it's the same Jeffree Star. So before we get into being on the road, let's talk about Jeffree Star, the name and the music behind the name.
Jeffree Star, Don Carleone was a good friend of mine, so we started hanging out, and as an engineer, I started to share tips with him as an engineer. We didn't get to the singing part of it yet. So I went to Florida, and I was working with Glenn Washington at the time. As you said before, I was traveling, extensively with many artists. So I was with Glenn Washington at the time in Florida. And Don called me and said to me, hey, I have this new one drop rhythm, and I need to go on it. So I said, really? Yeah. So that's drop leaf rhythm now. And he says, yes, nobody's on that rhythm yet. So I said, really? Okay, send it to me and I'll write you a song. So I wrote the song. And for many who don't know the song, it's called I'm Sorry. I'm sorry, baby. Please do forgive me. So that is the glamour Jeffree Star.
No. You can't start you off so and just done it so. Sing the tune, man. Oh, you go on so. Sing it, don't remember it, man.
All right, the song actually says, what would be appropriate to say to you in a time like this when you're so confused? Nothing I can do that will intensify the pain you're feeling because of my mistakes. No, I'm sorry, baby. Please do forgive me. And don't you leave me here alone. I promise you that I will be more caring, understanding to be true. Yeah.
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Oh, beautiful. All right, so you were saying.
Yeah, so from there as Jeffree Star, I actually launched Jeffree Star there. It was before, but I would say the recording part of Jeffree Star, because how am I? It is so much. It's so much aspect of me that it is enormous. It's too enormous to talk about because I was a rich kid before that.
I
When I was
remember
around
that.
Black. Yes, I was around Black Scorpio and I had songs with Shabarang's Consignment remix. So being with Don now was the emerging of Jeffree Star in its stage in that stage. We did another song of the Seasons with him. I did another song with Penthouse. It's a Beauty. A couple, many more songs that to mention them right now it would be too much. But Jeffree Star got a good run, but as you said, maybe I was so connected to the music that I was in other areas doing other things, producing, engineering, doing background vocals, writing for other people as well, and on and on it goes.
Right, because you have a beautiful singing voice, but you, as you said, you're doing so many other things. Did you find that the doing of so many other things, although you had the ability to do it, did you find that it took away from whatever it was that you really wanted to focus on? And what was that?
Sometimes I do think that, but then being a mature person, in a spiritual light, I now recognize that all of it was a collection, putting everything together. It was like a puzzle. So everything is now, coming together perfectly, in a way that I'm just so loving. Honestly, I'm embracing it.
I love that. And I love how you put it also, because you couldn't come to be Koptiq Sun before you knew who was Jeffree Star.
No.
And Jeffree couldn't come to Jeffree before him did know which kid.
No.
All right, so we're going to talk about Koptiq Sun now, because this is where you are, right?
Right.
All right, so let us talk about Koptiq Sun. Okay, before we do that, because that won't take a little time, we're going to take a commercial break, and then we'll come forward. Right, all right, cool. So we have on Zoom none other than singer, songwriter, engineer, and producer Jeffree Koptiq Sun. And we reach Koptiq Sun now. So tell us the difference between Jeffree Star and Koptiq Sun, and why you found the need to change the name.
Well, let me get first into the meaning of changing, why I changed the name. There was nothing wrong with the name. It's still me, but I went through a spiritual transformation. And as a result, being reborn or born again, as many people would say, it would be impossible to come with the same name and the same look because you're born again. So I'm like Moses now with a rebirth. So with a different look, and everybody's saying, wow, you look, so, but it's not just a look. People might say it's a look, but for me, it's spiritual, extremely. So okay. Koptiq Sun is the spiritual part of Jeffree.
All right.
And we're expressing that musically in this time.
All right. I've had the opportunity to sit with you and talk with you for an extended period of time. So I can attest to the fact that you do have a very calming, spirit. For those who have never gotten that opportunity, explain to them what has changed and tell us a little bit about where you are spiritually and your awakening.
Well, first and foremost, my persona has changed in the way that I'm not going to say that I was aggressive, but being in the world and constantly being after the goals that everybody else is after, you tend to sometimes behave a little bit egotistical. So that part of me now has died, where I can now come from a humble place instead of being so aggressive in terms of what I'm after or how I approach things or how I deal with things. We grow each day, because sometimes it may sound funny, but 24 hours ago I wasn't the same person, as long as you're on that mission of seeking for one's self.
Absolutely.
So the depth of Iman now is spirituality to the fullest, and I see everything as spiritual. If something happens, I don't see it as physical anymore. I now look at it in a spiritual fashion.
Mm-hmm. How has this awakening translated to your music?
Well, as the name of the album that I'm now promoting is called Transformed. So with that said, I'm not bashing lovers rock. I'm not saying lovers rock is a stupid music because I love listening to lovers rock, said Speed. But I no longer partake fully into lovers rock. I prefer now as a spiritual being to project in that light as a spiritualist. So things that I say and how I come across musically and verbally is now spiritual as opposed to being a lovers rock artist.
Okay. And as someone who has the responsibility or the mission to communicate with all different kinds of people, has your awakening, your spirituality helped you to be more encompassing or what?
Yes, it has. You know, in every aspect. I find myself now. I've always been a good communicator with everyone. You know, but now being a spiritualist, I find that, you know, I'm attracted, you know, to people, the Christians, to Muslims, to Rastafarians, to everyone. And how I see myself now is that I'm not taking on anything to myself where I'm going to say I am this or I am that. I see myself as a child of the universe. And I don't want anyone to say, him is a Rasta, you know, him is a Muslim, you know. No, I don't want it because that is going to segregate me, you know, from everybody else, and I don't want that.
I don't think you could answer my question any better. I get you. So that really is encompassing. Yes. All right. So let us get to the name Koptiq Sun. How did that come about?
Spiritually, you know, to tell you, some of the times a lot of people, when you ask them questions, they tend to try to make it seem as if, oh, I'm responsible for this or I'm responsible for that. To be honest, Sister Elise, most of the songwriting and the things that I'm now doing, I have no idea. It's just a spiritual connection, and when I hold a meditation, things just come out spiritually. So to tell you that, oh, Koptiq Sun came from here or Koptiq Sun came from there, I'm going to lie to you. So I'm going to tell you truthfully, it is spiritual. It came spiritually. And as you know, Koptiq means original. It's from the original place. So that is what I am, Koptiq Sun.
Okay, got
Shining.
you. I got you. Yeah. All right. There's a new song that you have, and I particularly love that new song. But we're going to ask our producer to listen to it, and then I want you to help us to interpret it. It does feel very spiritual. You know something about the song? You see, although I listened to it in a hurry, to be honest, I didn't get a lot of time to listen to it. But what I heard was really deep, and it got me in a zone, and I don't even know what the word mean. So it kind of tells us that sometimes oftentimes, if not most times, life is not really physical. It's spiritual for true.
It is.
It is spiritual.
And you're talking about Conqueror.
Yes. Oh.
Conqueror is...
Okay. No, you're not figuring out further. You won't know. I just never get the pronunciation. So it's
Conqueror.
Okay. All right. So here we're going to know. We're going to listen to the tune, and then when we come forward, we talk about the tune. All right.
Majesty.
All right.
Unseen obstacles, no walk.
Don't liquor for me. All right. So we're going to close off with this same tune. But make we talk about the tune, right? Now that I know that it's really. Oh, you spell it. The spelling get me out, you know.
Kong.
Yeah.
Kara.
All right. Was it the same good old kangaroo?
Yeah, it's the same good old Conqueror, but it's with a twist, and the reason for the twist is the fact that you know, it's a modern time now, and when you go into the search engine and to type things in, if I was to say General Conqueror with a C, then a lot of stuff would be coming up.
You're right. Right.
So,
oh my God, and I would know Conqueror tune out there, you know.
you understand what I mean?
Yes.
But then we have to still determine ourselves as being a little bit different in the spiritual realm. So hence Kongkara, Conqueror, just like Koptiq, Koptiq.
Right.
You know.
Let's talk a little bit more about the spiritual, because I hadn't seen you for a while, right? And then the other day I saw you where I saw you. And I kept thinking to myself, but him look like Jeffree Star. But actually, to be honest with you, I know Rich Kid. That is the person who I know.
Yes, that's the person you know.
Yeah, man. So I kept thinking that you looked like Rich Kid, but there was just something different, and no one know what it is. So is a aura. It's a aura that is either thicker or more obvious, but it's an
Sheila.
aura. So you were telling us the story of, no, I was saying to you that please don't do nothing with the gray beard, as if you were going to do something with the gray beard. But then, I was saying that sometimes when you just be your authentic self, because some of us in the public eye, it's like we depend on a mission for just, we don't even know for just what. We just look as far from how we really look as possible. And of course, we end up confused because you're going to have to come right back to how you really look. So I was saying, that don't do it. And then you were telling me about a story with some little girls. Tell us that story again. Because every time I remember the story, I really have to smile. Tell us that story again.
Well, there were two young ladies in a school uniform actually, and one was saying, "You ask him," and the next one was saying, "No, you ask him." So I interviewed. I said, "Ask him what?" So they say, "How come your beard is gray and your face is so young?"
Yeah,
so
how much?
And he just says, "Yeah, how much?" So I said, "Why you asking me how much?" She says, "You're pretty."
Yeah, man. Look at them see the glow too. And the glow them see, and the glow make them ask, yeah, how much? But yeah, so that to me is a point where we score in terms of just being ourselves. And for those listening to this conversation who think they are too whatever, to do whatever, whenever, no bother with it. Because
no bother with it.
No bother with it. Because
just be yourself. Because
absolutely.
the darnest thing is when your true self creeps out. That is the most uncomfortable feeling, when there is something that comes out that shows your real self and you are trying to be something else. It don't make no sense.
It don't make no sense.
No, it just don't make no sense. Just be yourself.
Because at some point you could have died the place where if you die good and the great creeper. So you're right, that's where make them know, so watch this now. Yeah, so I'm actually saying all of that to say that it's authentic. And that's what I'm hearing from Conqueror. That's what I'm feeling from you. And yes, and that's what we really want to be encouraging in our conversations. The days of people just trying to be like other people. I think if it ever was profitable, I don't think it's going to be profitable in the future. We're not clones, and we just have to find who we are authentically from inside. So
from inside.
Yeah, man. So what are you looking forward to now as Koptiq Sun? Are you, what are you looking for?
Well, right now, Koptiq Sun, we want to be spiritually embedded into the people's heavens. We don't want, as I say, it's not the physical we depend. We depend on the spiritual side of things. So we want when spiritual energies come up, people can say, well, Koptiq Sun did say that. It's just like Bob Marley right now. Bob Marley says some things and now we can relate to them. So ever so often we have to draw a line from Bob Marley's song when we experience in certain kind of situations. So it's the same kind of mission Koptiq Sun depend. Not wanting to be a Bob Marley because Bob Marley is done Bob Marley.
Yeah.
You understand? So we want to be Koptiq Sun now in a spiritual light to the people musically, because that's what we know. Music is what we know. So we're going to come through that vein, music.
Right. So I mean, without getting to industry talk, your branding as Koptiq Sun is really you.
Me, man.
Yeah, got you.
Straight.
Clear.
We don't want to pretty it up. We don't want to try to pretty it up. As I said before, I'm just being me. Yeah. So I'm not going to come with any pretty talk. One thing I must add, I don't want it to sound, generic. So I must say that my manager and whoever, the lawyers and the publicists, they can see me as a business, but I want to see myself as a spiritualist. I want the people to see me that way.
Yeah, yeah.
People can do the marketing and they can do this and they can do that, but I want to be a spiritualist.
Absolutely. Speaking of marketing, where's your next move? What where's your next stop? What's your next move?
Well, right now we love Jamaica, but as you know, where the music, the roots rock reggae music is mainly Europe and that kind of vibration. So we're trying to do some marketing extensively in Europe. As you know, as I said to you before, my producer, along with Barrio here, who oh my goodness, God bless his soul. He was the producer on this album, and Guido Delview, who is from the Netherlands. He is the one doing the man behind the machine, trying to make it happen, and he's from the Netherlands. Run Records. So we're trying to market ourselves in that arena at the moment. We have a couple shows coming up in Europe in next year. So we're trying to add to the list to make it more. That's the mission.
Okay. Well, Koptiq Sun, can I just say that based on what I've heard and based on what I've felt, there's clearly a space out there for you, and a big enough space too, because people kind of just want to reason at a authentic and holistic level. And we're knowing the difference now. You can't fool people again. Because even if your words might sound whatever, if them not feel it, them not go to gravitate to it. So we just give thanks to know that you're working with your spirit and the music, and we wish you all the best.
Give thanks, Mama Elise. Give thanks.
I have a text from one of our listeners, and she says, "Morning Nubian, I love the interview. Really appreciate and love his transparency, even more than the music, which is a plus. But the fact that he can look at himself so objectively, make a change for the better, and be transparent about that, growth and wisdom personified. Blessings, peace and prosperity to him, and more love." And this is coming from Sister Della. That is such a beautiful thing to say.
Yes, it's a blessing. It's a good blessing, and
Yes.
words manifest itself. So with her saying that, it's in the universe, and we give thanks. Bless up, sister.
Yeah, man, that's a good thing to say. All right, so we're looking forward to hearing more. We're looking forward. You're working on an album?
A new album, yes. Yet to be, I don't want to disclose anything yet, but we're promoting the particular album now, which is called Transform.
Oh, yes,
That's the
you did
album
tell
that
us
we're
about
promoting.
that.
We're
Yeah.
promoting that album right now, Transform.
All right.
So we want to stick to that, and then
Yeah,
we
man.
can.
That's what I was
move
thinking
on.
about. I just forgot
Yes.
the name. All right, so
Transform.
once again, thanks for talking to us. We wish you all the best on the song Conquer. It's an excellent song. It's different somehow, and the way you say
Give
Conqueror,
thanks.
it just somehow sound like something different, like as another. Is like you take a deeper dive into Conqueror, and we're just loving that. Continue to be self and continue to take it to the music.
Give thanks, Mama Elise. One love, love and light.
All right, so we're going to come out with a new song from Koptiq Sun called Conqueror. So let's do that one again, Lafayette. All right, we finished this interview now, but you see, the more I listen to this song, is the more I'm feeling our, the reggae ancestors, the original reggae sound, that original reggae that, went all over the world and fascinated the world. That's the sound it have. Like the ancestors, our reggae ancestors, totally. So we just had a wonderful conversation with singer, songwriter, engineer, and producer Jeffrey Koptiq Sun, and he was our guest this afternoon. And you heard from that new song there, that song that we just closed a while ago with. That's his new song, and it's called Conqueror. So yeah, that's what's up. So once again, thank you very much for being our guest, Koptiq Sun. And remember now, that's the new name. New name. Okay, so what time is it now? It is now just about time for us to say so long. It's now 12:53, and before we say so long, I want to remind our listeners that on Thursday, we do Untengle at approximately 11 o'clock. Actually, it's 11 o'clock. So remember that on Thursdays, we're coming at 11 o'clock and we leave at 2 in the afternoon. So join us to Untengle at 11 o'clock on Thursday morning. And then we say seal up Untengle at 2 o'clock Thursday afternoon. So we'll tell you more. You'll find out more. And again, thank you very much for endorsing our Untengle, the trending, with producer for Untengle, Lafayne Wigan. It was wonderful, and we look forward to having more conversations like that. And of course, we always look forward to hearing what you have to say also. So this is how we're closing out, Yeah, man, with a heart full of love. Full of love. So let's do this.